Sorry I'm late, everyone. Let's see if this will work here. Here, Lex. All right, there we go. All right. I'm gonna stand up, actually.
All right, Dave, how's it going?
Yeah,
man?
what's up, Lex?
Oh, it's going all right, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Good, man. Looks like we have a
Good.
good connection. Good connection there.
Yeah, perfect.
I
I
can
see
see
you
you
clearly.
All right.
Loud and clear, man.
Right on, man. So how you feeling this Friday?
Oh, feeling good, man. Made a few Orgonites. Got a few more things to do later. However, it's good to talk to you right now. And yeah, it's good to talk about all this disinformation that's going around lately. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. So let's just get right into it. So Lex, you make Orgonite. I could tell it's high powered. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Nice work, brother. I've been making it since 2014. Many other people are making it as well, and I think we've all seen some really nice, results of that.
Exactly.
In our own lives, with that of our friends, our family. Testimonials you're probably receiving from your clients.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Many of them, hundreds of them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for making them correctly, because there's a lot of folks that do not make them correctly.
Exactly.
And I think we should be focusing on that, not focusing, but if we're going to be calling out anyone or anything like these disinfo agents are, it should be the ones that are made incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it should not be saying that these just accumulate deadly energy and radiation, which is pure disinformation. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so a lot of people first believed that Orgonite, like a pyramid like this, it accumulates deadly Orgone energy, like the base layers, the metal matrix. I'm sure you know that's how you make all your pieces, a metal matrix at the bottom. That's what's going to accumulate deadly Orgone energy, and then it gets transmuted through the crystal layers. And also a lot of pyramids we make have a second metal matrix layer. It just acts as another filter, basically.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah.
And then and everybody knew that this energy has been around for many years. Of course, it got covered up when Wilhelm Reich was caught by the FDA and then went to prison. And then the info started coming out again, and people like Don Croft started, putting crystals in the Orgonite, which just completely changed the game of the Orgonite. So, and then all of a sudden, the past 6 months or so, the disinformation started coming out. Yeah. And that's when people started saying, not saying any names, just, people start saying, oh, these pyramids right here, they just accumulate deadly energy, and it's going to turn your house into a big giant home of deadly
radiation poisoning 101. Yeah.
Exactly. You're better off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, it's crazy. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so the point is to just, we're here to basically, tell everybody that that's not the case. And there are people out there, and I just made a post about this yesterday, how there are people out there that work for the government, the CIA, the FBI, and they are actually paid to spread disinformation. And even people who don't work for the government, they make money spreading disinformation. And it's a little ridiculous sometimes. So we're here to try to, speak up and stand up for ourselves.
Absolutely. That's the whole thing is, we're not going to call out anyone by name, but if you're watching this and if you're watching the tape version later and you can put two and two together, you might be able to see who's creating this disinformation, because they know who they are, we know who they are, and they know that we know that they who they are. So I think the best way to go about this is really kind of educate and get back to the roots of how things started, where they started, and why these people might be creating this disinformation. Because there's always a motive, there's always an agenda at play for people who create disinformation. They do it for a reason, So if you're working for the government, you get paid to be a troll or a shill and kind of create doubt and confusion in comment sections. We've all seen those guys, and I feed those trolls, and then I feel awful afterwards, and I'm like, why did I do that? I should have just took the high road. You know what I mean? I don't know how you deal with that. But
I tend to just ignore it. So You know,
Yeah.
that's always the best thing.
You know what? You're young. What? You're mid-20s, Flex?
Yeah,
What?
I'm in my early 20s, so.
Gosh,
Yeah.
man. You kids, man. I'm 40, and I took me, sometimes my ego gets involved, and I'm like, no, I want to go back and forth with you. It's not worth it. Never worth it.
Yep.
So good job on being mature, emotionally mature.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you drink coffee?
I don't drink coffee. I used to drink it a few years ago, and I never felt anything from it, so I just stopped drinking it. And I mean, obviously, I've made posts on it before. It's so bad for us.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was easy for me to get off it.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a little bit here, and I'm like, yeah, it's not doing anything for me. It's just making me kind of cotton mouth. Anyways, so I think let's get to the point here. Let's get to the point here. The history is this. Here's the history of Orgonite and Orgone accumulators, and you can chime in anytime you want. Okay. It's important for people to grasp this. Now, I'm sure you see in some comment sections, people are like, they call Orgonite a crystal. Some people think Orgonite comes from the earth. Some people think that Wilhelm Reich, whatever you want to call him, created Orgonite. You know, so there's a lot of uninformed folks, and I think the people who are creating this disinformation are preying on those people. They're preying on the people who do not have a grasp of this technology. So they're trusting their word, and that's what really bugs me, is because let's just say that the two that are creating this disinformation, let's just call them this big account and this Orgone account. That's all we'll call them, okay? So exactly. My problem is this big account has a big following and has been kind of the voice of the truther community for a while, right? And I actually like this guy. I used to tell him I love him over the phone. We used to like get along, but since this started, I've kind of kept my distance. So that's my problem is you know, you're trying to expose these deceivers in society, right? But then you end up kind of being one because you start associating with someone who has an agenda themselves. So it gets a little spicy. It gets a little interesting now, right? You know,
and that's what we try to do. You know, we're not trying to start a war or anything. You know, we're just talking.
Yeah, we're just talking, man. You know, like I would talk to these guys. I would talk to these guys anytime. You know, I got nothing to hide. But the way they're going about it is, I just don't agree with it. I don't resonate with it. It's kind of a low frequency, a low vibration, and I like to keep things on a high frequency. And that's why, you know, delving into comment sections and going back and forth, it's a lower frequency. It's never worth it. You know what I mean? So let's keep our frequency high. Let's educate. So going back to educating people, clarifying, you know, Wilhelm Reich, his role, what Orgonite is, who created it, who started it, and feel free to chime in at any time. Okay, so Wilhelm Reich, he made an accumulator box. You can see my sound accumulator box back there. So that's where I put my pyramids to cure and program the crystals and with frequencies and all that stuff. Now he made the accumulator box, which was many with layers of organic and inorganic. So he was able to draw in the ether, right? Accumulate the life force Orgone ether, right? And
to be specific, he actually used fiberglass, which is a resin that a lot of people make their pyramids with, and he used steel wool. And when those get layered, it's two perfect materials to attract the energy and accumulate it into a box. And however, this was in the 50s, and then we'll get to Orgonite later on, and how it evolved. So
exactly,
Dave.
Yeah, exactly. So he created that. Now he also created the Cloudbuster, which was basically an accumulator with large pipes, and he would accumulate the dead stagnant energy from the atmosphere. You know, we see that with chemtrails and the EMF, you know, pulsed clouds. That's like a big just conglomeration of Dor, you know. So he was able to clean the sky by pulling that energy out and grounding it into water, okay? And so he's not using any crystals. He's just accumulating the energy and grounding it into water.
Yeah, very important, you know, no crystals yet. Not yet.
Right. So he didn't use any crystals in his accumulator. He didn't use any crystals. He's just using copper pipes and an accumulator, which is organic and inorganic, right? Okay, so he was thrown in jail. A week before he's about to get paroled, he dies of heart failure, of dubious
supposedly.
Right, yeah.
Supposedly.
Kind of like Dr. Sebi, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then years later, a lot of his work gets translated from German into English. I don't know who did that. I think it was in the 80s. Someone did it, and all of a sudden, the consciousness of his work started to grow and expand. Well, there's a guy named Carl Hans Wells. Okay, Carl Hans Wells studied Reich's work. I call him Reich. You can call him Reich. Whatever. He studied his work, and he was kind of an interesting guy from Austria as well. He's still alive, and so he's been at this a long time. Now, he created the word Orgonite as we know it today, right? We created that, okay. And then he also created trademarked the term Orgone generator, okay? So the thing with Orgonite is, you tell me, Lex, you tell me how this Orgonite was structured by Carl Wells.
Well, basically, you know, he basically put crystals inside the Orgone that Wilhelm Reich created. He basically went off of his work and then layered inorganic and organic materials, and then just added a quartz crystal in there to create a piezoelectric effect. And then obviously what me and you started doing, and a few others who make Orgonite really powerful, we also put other piezoelectric minerals in it, like Rochelle salts, tourmaline, topaz, and that gives Orgonite a piezoelectric effect, an electric field around it, which can transmute the deadly energy and transmute it into positive. And also things like shungite powder, which has the EMF protecting benefits.
Okay, so Lex, hold on. I got to stop you, brother. So Carl Wells never used crystals. Carl Wells never used crystals. Crystals were added later by Don and Carol Croft. Okay, so what Carl Wells, you know, much respect to Carl Wells, you know, he was a visionary. He saw all this stuff way earlier than we did, so much respect. But he just used metal powders. He was the one guy to say, hey, atomized metal powders, they create more surface area, and if you mix those with an epoxy, you can form an accumulator. Okay, an accumulator. So there was no crystals added yet. All right, about 8 years later, the crystals were added by Carol Croft, who's an empath, kind of an intuitive healer, and she said, well, what if we take this small accumulator and let's add crystals to it? Okay. And see, look, we got Orgone generator here. Okay, Orgone generator. You don't follow me, but here you are on my live. Okay, and we're not going to name any names here, but let's just keep talking about facts here. So there's a lot of evidence that crystals were never used. Okay, until Carol Croft put them in. All right, so we have small Orgone accumulators, and then we have small Orgone accumulators with crystals added. Now, when you add crystals, they have amazing abilities to restore, amplify, transmute, convert, balance. Crystals have amazing properties, especially when put under properties, right? Under piezoelectric
under pressure,
stress, right? Okay, so that's the whole thing with Orgonite, and that's the reason why these don't just accumulate deadly energy. That's the reason why. Okay. So fast forward to today, you know, there's trademark terms Orgonite and there's trademark terms Orgone generator. So if you use any of those terms, you have to pay the trademark creator, okay? So I don't use those terms. Some people do, and they don't mind paying. So, okay, so that's kind of the background of how Orgonite started. So now people are adding more than just quartz. They're adding amazing other piezoelectric crystals and superconductors and minerals and adding that and layering it to the powdered and atomized metals. So as we see that today, these devices are creating a lot of energy conversion of bad stale energy. And you see it with your clients, I see it with my clients, I see it in my own home, I see it, I mean, you know, everywhere I look, everywhere I put these, there's a good effect. So when I see people in certain accounts that are in cahoots with each other, saying, you know, I don't hear anyone else saying that these just accumulate deadly energy. I only hear these two. Do you? Do you hear anyone else besides these two saying that these accumulate deadly energy?
No, those are the only two. Again, it was like about 6 months ago I started seeing this stuff, and I just think like all I can do is really just look at the testimonials I have from the pyramids I've sold to people and all the tower busters I've, given to people. And I've had people tell me that they can physically feel the energy from up to 50 feet away. And that's the kind of effect you get when you put in high conductive metals like copper powder, atomized metals, and high piezoelectric minerals into the pyramid. You get that type of effect rather than just having a pyramid made of crystals and maybe a copper coil, which is a lot of the pyramids that are being sold nowadays. If you guys who are watching just go on eBay and type in Orgonite pyramid, it's going to be incorrectly made pyramids. You're hardly ever going to see something like this. And just like with anything, it seems like all the right stuff gets censored. Like everything that works gets censored, and everything that doesn't really work or isn't made correctly gets promoted.
Lex, when we were DMing, you had said you didn't know what to believe when you heard that Etsy removed listings, but they actually removed 5 of my listings. And I don't know if you knew that, but I created a post a while back. I said, wow, guys, I just got an email from Etsy saying they removed 5 of my listings in accordance with the Nuclear Radiation Regulatory Commission. And I kept asking for reasons why. Like, here are my elements. I'm very transparent. Which of these are radioactive? I would love to know. And they couldn't give me any sort of answer, right? But they removed 5 of my listings, and those listings just happen to be my top. They have to be my top sellers, whatever that's worth. So I didn't know if you knew that, but that happened to me. And after I made that post, I see a bunch of other people kind of creating posts that are mimicking that message, saying, "Oh, did you know?" And getting like 3,000 likes, and I'm just like, I think they're
probably taken out of proportion a little bit.
They're talking about me,
blowing it up.
But I'm sure other people got their listings removed as well.
Yep.
And so that factually happened to me, and I have never had a testimonial of someone saying this is like radioactive, bro. It's creating bad energy in my home. I have one bad review in my life. It's from Etsy. It's 3 stars from some lady who got a smart meter protector, and she said the finish was too rough. And
so any bad reviews are just going to be the pyramid doesn't look that great,
Yeah,
and
they're not all being perfect.
Yeah, and all the reviews I've gotten, it's all positive. For those watching, you can check my Etsy page, 432 Hertz Orgone, and there's like over 100 reviews on there, and maybe 1 or 2 are negative, and it has nothing to do with the energy of the Orgonite.
Right.
All the positive reviews are people saying, like they have really experienced vivid dreams and all kinds of benefits.
Right. And so we the people who make them correctly, I have a problem when those people are essentially called out by big accounts who are hired by other accounts to spread this message. That's what I have a problem with, man, because we're making this correctly. And we could be called, a backyard physicist. We can be called all these names. We could be called, saying, oh, these guys are, there's still a drought in California. These gifters mean well. All these pretentious comments. You know what? I'm out here working hard, trying to be an activist and trying to do what's right. And when someone starts slamming that work, I kind of take it personally. And it's not even coming from a place of ego. It's coming from a place of just slander. It's slander.
Yeah, you feel like you need to stand up for yourself, and what you believe in. Yeah.
Right. And I believe in do no harm. I mean, this goes beyond Orgonite. This goes how you treat animals, how you treat. I mean, I love the fact that you're vegan, and you have an aura around you, man. I'm so happy to be connecting with you right now. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It's like, and maybe some of these people who are saying that these things create door and deadly energy. Maybe they're giving off deadly energy themselves.
It could be.
It all starts with your own auric field. That's why I always, I'm not like trying to promote myself or anything, but like whenever I'm like a little bit apprehensive, I'm going in public, throw on one of the big boys, the ambulance. This stuff protects you, man. Like I don't know, I can't explain it. I can't necessarily prove it. I just know I feel better when I'm around it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you feel the same way. Like you can't really prove this stuff. You can try to use instruments with today's instruments, the spiritual realm, the etheric realm. This is kind of a magical plane where, you can look at how it affects water, how it affects animals, how it affects plants, and how humans sleep and feel. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, prove you love your dad. You know, from that movie Contact. Prove it. How do you prove it? Well, how do you prove? You can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, these people trying to create proof. Like when I do my negative ion readings, it's not proof. It's just an observation. Okay, it's just an observation. When I do a water test, and I'm going to do many more, I'm going to buy a little freezer and put it right here next to the accumulator. It's just an observation. That swirling vortex. It's not proof. It's not proof. Okay.
Yeah, and one thing, real quick, for those watching, a lot of people think that there's a meter out there that can test Orgonite, or people say, "Can you get an EMF meter and test Orgonite?" Well, it doesn't work that way, because Orgonite doesn't block out radiation. Because if it did block out radiation, our computers wouldn't work, TVs wouldn't work, phones wouldn't work. All the radiation would be getting blocked out. Right. So there really is, guys, there really is no meter, Orgonite meter, to test Orgone energy.
There isn't. There isn't. And why would they be even, like, who's going to go out of their way to do that? Like, spend a bunch of money on proving that these devices work, that essentially anyone can make if they invest a little time and energy, right? The system doesn't want to prove that these work. The system wants to cause doubt and confusion and remove these things. You know what I mean? So the whole thing is, my thing is, like, whenever I provide negative ion readings, I'm not saying, look at my stuff, this works, I'm proving it to you. I'm going to show some time lapses of sky cleaning, sky ionizing. You're going to see some chemtrails rolling through, and you're going to see that blue remaining in the background, and you're going to see some chem fails. Sometimes you're going to see clouds transmuting and starting to look full. I'm not saying my pieces work because of this. That's not my proof. I'm saying this is an observation, man. This is science. You observe. You just observe. You're not saying, you know, my stuff works and this other guy doesn't because mine shows negative ion readings right here, and mine doesn't, you know. There's just so much false bravado, dude. There's so much pretentiousness in this community now. It's making me sick, man. All over money. I started making this because I hate chemtrails. I started making this in 2014 because a college buddy of mine, a teammate, said, you know what? I know a couple who's making Orgonite, and they gift them to cell towers, and they're just as pissed about chemtrails as you are. You should link up with them. And from Gabe and Sharon from the Chembo.com. I don't know if you've heard of them. I don't
absolutely.
I don't associate with them anymore. But they've turned me on to it, so I'm grateful that they did. And I started making chemtrail. I started making these devices when I was able to prove that we are being sprayed with chemtrails. When I did all my rainwater tests, and I'm like, barium, strontium, titanium, aluminum, manganese, iron. These things do not just naturally occur in the sky. These things are not just floating around up there. No matter how much the shells want to say, oh, that's just created by
it's just water vapor.
Just water. If it's water vapor, why? Yeah. So I started making this stuff because I'm motivated and pissed off because I want to help. All right. I'm not in this to make money and own the market. I'm here because we're being sprayed like bugs, and they're putting up freaking towers everywhere, and they're putting smart meters all throughout the neighborhood. And these people are like, whoop, doop, doo, doo, oh well. Okay. I did this for a place of motivation and passion because I want to fight back. Sorry, I'm yelling. Sorry.
Let it out, man. Let it out.
Yeah. So when you can tell this stuff needs to get out, man. I'm tired of this stuff. I'm tired of people saying this stuff doesn't work just for monetary gain because they're selling a similar product. You know what? Shame on you. You guys should be ashamed of yourself. Really, you should be. You know who you are. All for money. These things help people. They help people, okay? And I can't prove it. I can't prove it with my negative ion readings, my sky ionizing, my water tests, my testimonials. I can't prove it, but I can show you observations that it helps. And I can show you a lot more observations that it helps than it hurts. Because I can't show you any observations that it hurts.
Yeah, and one thing that a lot of people can do is watch YouTube videos on how to make Orgonite and just kind of watch people do it. And you can also get your own ingredients. Some of the ingredients to make Orgonite are actually really cheap, and just make it yourself and see what happens. See what you feel, and it's really easy. It's not too big of a deal to just make some tower busters in a 12 cup muffin pan. And then just scatter them around. Put them under your pillow, under your bed, and see what happens. Right.
And I made a video a while back, and here's me being a backyard physicist. That's what I was called, the backyard physicist. Yeah, exactly. So make these yourself. I made a video a while back called Basic Instructional Video on how to make Orgone Energy Devices. I made it in 16, so 3 years ago, when I was 40 pounds heavier and I was a little bit like not as informed in this stuff. It's a little rough around the edges, but it'll help. I always, if people are interested in making Orgonite, I point them to that video, because you need to start with tower busters. Start with tower busters. Make your own, man. Make your own. See how you feel. That's the best evidence, is seeing how you feel. We are divine biological organisms, and science is based on observation, repeated, tests and observation. Okay, so put it under your bed and take notes in the morning. Hey, I slept this well. I dreamt about this. Okay, see how that goes like, in a week. See if it's different. Be the scientist. It's
just like Aristotle said: believe only your own experience. So you're right. Just test it. See how you feel. Make your own and just put them everywhere. See how you feel.
Right.
And most people will experience positive benefits from it.
Right. And I have not heard one testimony from anyone saying, man, all the radiation around my house is just stuck and accumulated in this little generator. I'm just like, I don't know what to do, man. Can I get my money back? Like, no one who makes these correctly has ever gotten that testimonial.
Yeah.
So there's no evidence of that. Now you can do a little test and say, oh, this is creating door, or we'll do whatever. I don't care. The pieces that are made correctly are not going to do that, because they have the superconductors, they have the right amount of semiconductors, scalar wave transceivers, quartz, and they have the one-to-one ratio of inorganic to organic, so you're able to pull in and accumulate that energy. If it's stagnant, guess what? We got a lot of powerful crystals for that. They're going to convert that energy. So you can't discount the power of piezoelectricity and the power of crystals. People have been using crystals for watches, clocks, computers,
radios, televisions.
Yeah, and people who say, oh, we can't pull these crystals out of the ground right now. Well, guess what? When all the cell towers and the Wi-Fi and all that crap is gone, maybe we're more living in more harmonious times. We'll put all the crystals back. We'll put them back. Right now, we need them. Right now, we need them. Okay. And as far as gifting these, that they leach petrochemicals in the ground. What's a bigger problem right now? A tower buster leaching petrochemicals, or this giant frickin' cell tower that's there radiating the community? Okay, we'll go dig up all of our tower busters when they take the cell towers out that are now being installed with 5C. Look up that, not just 5G, 5C, and 4G macros that are just continuing to grow like freaking mushrooms. Okay, so no, I don't want to hear about leaching petrochemicals into the ground while we have these monstrosities in our communities. We need to fight that energy.
Yeah, the environmental benefits of Orgonite are they're going to far outweigh any sort of toxicity caused by the resin that's used to make them. Because all the resins are toxic. I mean, I've been using epoxy lately, and apparently it's water resistant. So throwing that in water shouldn't even be much of a problem anyway. And the petrochemical thing, leaching petrochemicals, it's just another thing. It's just like a marketing thing. Like, Orgonite doesn't work. It's just another thing.
Another thing to discount, like you can. I have plant-based ecopoxy right here, okay. But you know what? I can only get it by driving like 3 hours. That's the only place they'll deliver it. So I actually use petroleum to go get my plant-based ecopoxy. It doesn't end up. So I use it, but not all the time. Polyester is a great polymer because it is able to squeeze. Now fiberglass resin is a little bit better because but you can't see anything, so it's more opaque. So I used to just do tacticals for towers with fiberglass. Now, if that's leaching a petrochemical into the ground, oh well, we're going to have to deal with that for now, just like we're taking crystals out of the ground for now. As long as we got these cell towers and this movement towards 5G, we need as much help as we can get, okay? And we certainly do not need people saying that are within the movement saying that these are collecting that door in radiation, and they're going to be harmful to your family, because they're not going to be if they're made correctly. And what we need to do is focus on the people who are making these incorrectly, who promote their stuff. They pay Instagram to promote their stuff. We've all seen it. We've all seen these shiny, colorful, glittery Orgone pieces, right? That you're like, where are all the atomized metals in there? Where are all the superconductors? I just see like a lot of glitzy stuff that anyone who doesn't know anything is just saying, I want that pretty thing.
It's an art piece.
And some people can sell it for art. That's fine. And I can tell I can tell Third Eye Brand and Orgone, I can tell a lot of makers, they want to make these functional because they care. But
Yep.
you want to make it a little aesthetically pleasing too, because you want people to like what they're, so I try to do best of both worlds. And I put a bunch of stuff in there. I'm looking at all my powders right now. The powders are the key. The accumulators are the key. And having powerful, charged, programmed crystals with the right frequencies, healing frequencies, will get these crystals nice and ready. And it'll make for a powerful device. Lex, it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing making this stuff. So we should be focusing on the people who are making these incorrectly, that are not using, Carl Wells, nice job for promoting the use of atomized metals and being the first one to do that. Nice job, Carl Wells, for being the first one to put metal powders in with epoxy and get that accumulator thing. Nice job, Carl. Nice job, all right? However, let's let people now expand on that and use crystals and use their intuitive capabilities to put what they think should work to make them even more potent. Because we got 5G scaling up and we need more potent devices. And we have people who care and are passionate to make these. And they're up until 3 or 4 in the morning working on batches. And they're working hard on these. And then they go check their phone in the morning and they see people sending them messages saying, oh, this stuff just collects radiation? That ain't right, man.
Yep. Yeah, and even when a lot of posts like that come up, first thing I get a bunch of messages, and I just have to pretty much tell them it's disinformation, it's marketing. That's how business is. It's just like with any company. You watch a commercial, people are going to bash other companies. It's just how business is. And people who are getting paid a lot of money, they don't care. They're just going to say what they want. Oh, say Orgonite doesn't work. Okay. And they just do it without even thinking about it, because they're just being paid huge amounts of money.
Right. So the reason why we made this live, and we're going to go on with Brandon Third Eye Orgone after this, Lex, is because, you know what? People need to know that if you layer these correctly and you provide atomized metals and a lot of crystals and a lot of stuff that will convert harmful energy, they will be helpful for people. They will be helpful for plants, for everything. I mean, everything. Even if we didn't have all this Wi-Fi and stuff, it'd be nice just to have everyone have a pyramid around their house. Everyone needs a little good energy. Okay. So that's my whole thing, is people need to understand that a properly constructed device will be helpful, not harmful. And we don't need confusion. We don't need disinformation being spread in the community that is working hard, and we don't need these black marks in the community. And you know who you are, who's doing that for monetary gain, and I don't appreciate it. Okay. So I don't know how much more. I don't know how much more clear I can be. I mean,
yeah, and
if you have
another
thoughts,
thing.
Lex,
Yeah, and another thing that's on my mind is, for those watching and who may watch this in the future after it's saved, guys, just be careful what you look at on Instagram. Some of these big pages you're following, they give 90% truth. Me and Dave were talking how they're 90-10ers. They give 90% truth, 10% disinformation, because they're either being paid or they just want to sway everybody away from the actual truth. So it's really important to just do your own research and pretty much just self-educate yourself, because there's a lot of people out there that are going to try to sway you away from the truth.
Right. And so it's not about, this whole thing does not need to become a war. This, and I feel like they kind of want it to become a war, because the big page has a big following, and the big page is probably confident that, you know what, if this becomes a war, that I could probably win it, because I have I have so many followers, and all these guys and their little piddly followers, I'll just crush them. Just that's such a low frequency, man. And even this whole conversation around this division it's creating is such a lower frequency, man. And I'd rather be working right now. I mean, I got my Russian equalizer right now. I'd rather be doing a time lapse right now. I'd rather be sanding my pieces I was up all night making last night. I don't want to be talking about this right now. I want to be posting about veganism and helping animals and helping the environment and this mandatory vaccination thing, man. I want, so I kind of resent that I'm having to do this right now, but it needs to be done. And that's why I'm going to go another hour with Brandon. But I mean, we have things in the pipe that are big, man, bigger than businesses, Orgonite businesses battling with each other. We have mandatory vaccination agendas at play. Whether you believe.
And people are just unaware about it. So, that's why, like, I hadn't talked about vaccines in a while. So I decided to post about it, because I do think it's important, because some people still don't understand. all these ingredients in the vaccines that are just so harmful to the body. And basically what they do is they keep the body from getting sick, which you actually want your body to be sick because that means your body's cleansing out. So that's the way I like to think about it. And then when you get a vaccine in your shoulder, it stops your body from doing its natural cleansing process. And then people just get even more sick. They get handicapped or they even pass away.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And
yeah.
it's all about just keep talking. And like you said in your story the other day, if anybody who has a vaccine story, share it. If you have a story about 5G or something like that, share it and get people to know what's going on.
Right.
You know, and when you're talking to your neighbors too, one more thing, if you're talking to a stranger at the grocery store or your neighbor, just if you see a chemtrail plane in the sky, just say something. Hey, what do you think those planes are spraying up there? And just get a conversation going. And if they don't seem interested, then just forget about it and move on. And if they do seem interested, try to tell them more. Fluoride in the water, vaccines. Tell them about Orgonite. Tell them, you know, it's crazy. Just keep it simple.
And I don't know if I've been studying lawful money, but that's another thing. Like, hey, I know how you can get 40% of your paycheck back. You know, if you just redeem it in a certain way, endorse it in a certain way. So there's so many things. Yeah. And there's so many things to be covering besides this stuff, besides these squabbling. So guys, big account, Orgone account, promote your stuff. I'm sure it works. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's going to generate a bunch of chi, and I'm sure people feel great on your stuff. You know what? Great. I'm happy for you, man. Thank you for your work in this movement, whatever you want to call it. But don't say that a properly constructed Orgone device accumulates door and radiation, because the people who are making these correctly and work hard to make them and educate the people on how they work, you're completely discounting us. So I really resent that, and I really hope you don't make any more posts saying that, because a big audience reading that's a dangerous message to be spreading, and you become an actual disinfo agent in that process. And I don't know if you want to take that on, because that has some negative benefits karmically, energetically, and this is all about energy, right? Orgone, chi, having good energy, not creating bad energy through disinformation. So you can talk about your generators all you want, but if you yourself are creating bad chi and bad karma and bad energy, then it doesn't matter about what your generators are doing. It's about you. It's all about you, okay? Lex, you got a great page, man. I really respect you, man. You're way smarter than I was at your age, man. It took me till I was 35 to figure all this stuff out. I'm like a 5-year path of still just going down the rabbit hole, man. Much respect to you, brother.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, just to say, changing my health and moving to the vegan diet about almost 3 years ago, it just changed everything for me. Everything started making sense once I got rid of the meat and the dairy and everything. So, I mean, that's really important, guys. Just health is so important. That should be one of the first things to focus on.
It gives you spiritual clarity. It gives you clarity. And these devices, it's like they work in concert with each other, I've found. This is my little testimonial. I've been plant-based. Around the same time in 2014, I started making Orgonite, and I went vegan. Around the same time. That might be a coincidence. I don't know. I can't remember which one came first, but it was just like both clicked, that this is what needs to be done in both areas. I need to not be consuming death. I need to keep my temple clean. And if I'm about, not harming animals, because I love my dog more than anything, and I still cry thinking about her, I can't be paying other people to slit animals' throats because I want a steak or a burger or a chicken sandwich. That's not righteous, man. That doesn't make sense. It's hypocritical. If I don't want to be hypocritical, I want to be righteous and not hurt an animal for no reason, I need to be vegan. So I started making Orgonite around the same time, and since then, the spiritual clarity has just come in droves, and I'm so grateful. And like every morning I pray, and I'm just so fortunate for this life to have this clarity to be able to share it with others on a platform. And that's why I'm happy I have this platform, because I'm able to share it, and you are able to share it, and you create such positive messages. And I just want to be tribed up with people like you, man, with brothers like you. So thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Dave, is there anything else? Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything specific?
No, I think I feel a lot better after that little rant.
Yeah, man, just let it all out.
You're more composed than me.
Yeah, I'm a pretty calm person.
You have a very calming presence, man.
Yeah.
Like when I first DM'd you about this stuff, and I was like, look at these messages people are sending me. My intuition said to go to you and Brandon, because not only do you guys make these correctly and you're vegan, I just resonate with you guys in the same frequency, same vibration. But you had such a calming presence. You were like, well, you know, we'll figure it out. And it's like, I just feel very, very fortunate. There are calming, intelligent, spiritually intelligent people like you right now that we have to look up to as leaders, because we're all leaders following leaders at this point. Mm-hmm. We're not followers. We're all, every one of my followers, every one of your followers, we're all leaders. We're just leaders following each other. We're picking up on the data that's being transmitted, the spiritual consciousness. And the more clean our temples are, the better we're able to take it in. And so that's why this whole platform thing, you need to use it for a good purpose. Not spreading disinformation that tools actually work are causing harm when no one else is saying that. You guys are the only two saying that. You should stop. Please, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, a lot of people say that, you know, the internet is bad. Well, we kind of actually have to use it. It's just, we don't live in an ideal world anymore. So, you know, like going back earlier, the petrochemicals being released into the ground. Well, unfortunately, it might happen. So, because we don't live in an ideal world anymore, and sometimes we have to do things that may not seem right. And the internet is also good to promote information.
Yeah. Right, like we're getting radiation in our brain right now because I don't have like ear pods or whatever. You know, this platform that we're using is causing radiation. You know, but I just did a highlight on my Wi-Fi router that's causing radiation. You know, but you know what? We sleep like babies, and our dreams are so clear. And Sarah, my partner, who's like a natural skeptic, she grew up in the hood. She's like no bullshitter. Like she needs, you know. She's, ever since I made this Russian equalizer, she's like, oh my God, I'm remembering my dreams like days later. And she's like blown away about how deep her sleep is and everything every time I make a new pyramid. So it's like these experiences that we're experiencing, they are so beneficial, and I'm glad we're able to kind of share them and just kind of keep the momentum going as far as creating more positive energy. That's what it's really all about, you know. And it does not create positive energy to confuse people. We have enough of that. We have enough of that from the mainstream, lamestream media, from politics, politicians, politics, you know, from everyone who's broadcasting to us. It's just subconscious programming, lies, deception, do this, do that, consume, eat, blah, blah, blah. We don't need people within the movement who are humble, who want to help. We don't need people within the same community creating more disinformation and confusion. So I know we weren't really able to get into depth of the history, but let's review real quick, Alex. Okay,
well, actually, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
In my notes here, I remembered that Wilhelm Reich was actually able to capture the Orgone energy into clear tubes. It's a blue energy, and I'm sure you may have heard of that before. And his hand would actually turn blue. His hand would turn blue when he would experiment with Orgone energy at times. So he was actually able to see it, for those who don't know. And
those bions were like, those bions were like, I think he said that bions, this blue microscope, under a microscope, these bions came before the atoms. So they were like this Orgone energy, like the life force energy, like created the atoms, and we're all atoms, you know. Adam and Eve.
That's it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting stuff. I mean, you know, and Wilhelm Reich, you know, we can really expand. He was kind of like a pioneer for this, you know, what cultures around, you know, ancient times have known for years about life force energy. And he was able to kind of find it in a time before all this massive censoring. You know, like right now we're dealing with all the censoring, and they censored vaccine injury, hashtag vaccine injury. Can you believe that? You can't go look at that. You know, you can't look up a vaccine injury. YouTube's pulling off massive things. So we got this massive censoring. we should be grateful that, that whoever translated Reich's works from German to English, and then Carl Wells, thank you to get the stuff out, and then Don and Carol Croft. I don't think Don and Carol Croft were agents or trolls or anything like that. I actually have email exchanges between Don Croft and myself, and I did not get a bad vibe from him. Gifting these to your cell towers is not any form of trolling or disinformation agent. So if you're going to call Don Croft a troll, I must be a troll too. I must be an agent too.
Yeah.
I must have a fake name too, even though I'm completely transparent. You know, hey, we're all agents and trolls if we're distributing Orgonite and gifting, right? So, come on, man. But just so you know, yeah, those people are saying that stuff. So don't say that stuff, all right? If you want to be respected in this community, don't say that stuff. It's not all about money, man. It's not all about money. At the end of the day, when you go to your grave, it's going to be about how you treated people. Were you righteous? Were you truthful? Were you respectful? And did you try to help your brothers and sisters out? Did you try to help the earth out? Did you try to help the animals out? You know, whether you believe in Judgment Day or not, whether you believe in that or not, there might become a time where someone's going to look at you and say, what did you do? What did you do? Did you create doubt in a good, positive movement? Did you put a black mark on a positive movement? Or were you out there grinding and hustling, wake up people and educate and bring harmony to earth?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the most important thing is, you know, when we go to the grave, we just want to make sure, did we help people and did we spread positive information instead of just trying to make everybody doubt themselves?
Right. So I'll let you go, brother. You're busy, I'm busy.
All right, Dave.
But hold on one sec. Let me just
Gotcha.
recap. Okay. Let me recap and then you can chime in with any sort of just additions. Okay. So
Absolutely.
Let's recap really quick for everyone who's watching this a little later. Okay. I think we're actually going to did they cut us off after an hour? We have a little time.
Yep.
So Wilhelm Reich created the accumulator and the cloudbuster. No crystals. Fast forward to the, I think, 90s, early 90s. Carl Wells, researcher of Reich's work. He created Orgonite. He trademarked the term. Okay. He put metal powders and epoxy in. Okay. Now there's no evidence that he put crystals in, and he has never been one to promote crystals. I have a YouTube video of him saying no crystals needed. I can show it to you. I can post it. No crystals needed. Okay. So Carl Wells is not promoting crystals, but he trademarked the term Orgonite. Okay. Fast forward about 8 years, Don Croft, Carol Croft, start this gifting movement of Orgonite. Now they're going off of Carl Wells' technology. Okay. They added crystals. Now we have crystals into the mix, to the matrix. Gifting those to cell towers is going to be helpful because they have crystals and they have the accumulator field. Okay. So you can say Don Croft is an agent with a fake name, but you know what? He started the gifting movement. And if he didn't start the gifting movement, I probably never would have found out about Orgonite because the people I heard it from learned it from him. Okay. All the cell towers that I've gifted, maybe they wouldn't be gifted right now. Maybe people who live right next to those towers would have cancer. I don't know.
Never know.
Never know. Okay.
Yep.
So that's the timeline. Okay. So you have quartz added by Don and Carol Croft, but you still have Carl Wells as the trademark and the inventor of Orgonite and Orgone generator. Good job, Wells. Thank you for your work. Don't discount Don and Carol Croft's gifting because they added the quartz. Now, whether Wells was using quartz or not, he never promoted quartz. He never said, I'm using quartz. Quartz is amazing. Never happened. I have a video of Wells saying, you don't need quartz. Okay. Fast forward, those associated with Wells, fast forward to the present day, those associated with Wells are basically saying Orgonite today with quartz, with crystals, only accumulates Orgone energy and or. So let's look at the Orner experiment where a radium needle was added to an accumulator. The whole town got sick. No crystals. No crystals, no scalar wave transceivers, no superconductors, nothing powerful that's able to convert that. We're in Reich's accumulator at the Orner experiment. Big, big difference. Okay? So present day Orgonite is not the same as the original Orgonite. They didn't have crystals. Okay? Original Orgonite was just metal shavings and epoxy. Yeah, you'll accumulate the energy. you're not going to do much with it once it gets there because there's no crystals in there. There's no superconductors in there. There's nothing going to convert that stagnant energy. Okay. So the present day Orgonite, it's made by guys like you and me and many others. They use the atomized metals that works off of Wells's intuition. Nice job, Wells. We are making them correctly. They do not accumulate deadly energy. They convert it. That is the big difference. Okay. I hope I've been very clear here on what the difference is between original Orgonite, trademarked by Wells, that had no crystals, the Orgonite today. I don't even like using the term Orgonite because, hey, I didn't trademark it. I didn't create it. Good job, Wells. You did. Much respect, much love. Okay? But the way we're making these helps people. That's all it should be about. Period. These testimonials, people sleeping better, feeling better, removing toxic things from their life, you know, becoming better people. Sleep is healing. Deep REM sleep is incredibly healing. People experiencing all this is a positive thing. So don't try to conflate an Orgone accumulator that just accumulates deadly energy or good energy. Don't try to conflate and confuse people by putting that with today's present day correctly made Orgonite. Don't do it because it's not the same.
Yeah, brilliantly put, Dave. And one other thing that was on my mind is people who have any of our Orgone energy devices, and from anyone else who makes them correctly, send testimonials. You can message us and send a picture of the pyramid or tower bust you have and say what's been going on, say how you're feeling, and we'll post them on our stories and show people.
Yes, right. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, Lex. When I post these testimonials, it's not to say, my stuff works so well, buy my stuff. Yeah, it's my business, it's my livelihood, and I would love if you buy from me, but if you don't, it's okay. I want to share that the technology works. Like, when I see that your customers are happy, I'm happy. When I see that Brandon's customers are happy, I'm happy. When I see that Orgone Generators clients are happy, I'm happy. I want people to be happy. I want people to ditch bad habits. I want people to remove toxic things from their life and stop eating carcinogens and being calcified. That's what I want, because you know what? There's more of those people that go around, the better the earth is going to be, man. And then we could talk about leaching petrochemicals. All that stuff won't matter, because you know what? Maybe we won't even have cell towers anymore. We won't need to gift towers. You know what I mean? So this goes way deeper than just creating disinformation. This is about if it works for people, that is great, and that is the most important thing. And that is really the evidence we have right now. Like prove that you love your parents, Lex. How do you prove that? You can't, right?
Can't do it.
So same thing. You can't prove that your devices work. If I were to say, Lex, prove to me your pyramids work, it's the same thing as me saying, prove that you love your parents. You'd be like, I can't. Yeah. But what you can do is observe how you feel when you're around it, right? You can observe how, when you're around your parents, you look in your dad's eyes and you're like, God, man, this guy raised me. You look in your dog's eyes, man, this dog just loves me so much. You look at your pyramid and you're like, man, I sleep so well with you around you. That's the evidence. That's what we have.
Yeah.
You know? And that's all, that's, you know, so, you know, I feel like these guys could take it into this war where it's like, oh, I have this reader and this detector and your stuff says this and we're going to do some challenge. Send me a pyramid and oh, a detected door. No. It's about how water is affected by it. If there's a vortex, it's an observation. Maybe something's happening there. It's an energetic vortex. Plants are growing fuller. My cactus sprouted up, boing, after 8 years of being dead. Pets always gravitate towards these. It's an observation. It's not proof, right? So we're sleeping better. That's an observation. So I'm becoming a little redundant. I hope I've clarified something somewhat. I don't know if anyone's really, you know, hopefully people are grasping what we're trying to accomplish here, which is just to clarify the disinformation. And hopefully I've done a good job of that. And hopefully I'm not coming off as in any certain way that's annoying people or being arrogant. I'm just trying to clarify the situation. And because we have this disinformation being spread. And that's why I made a video recently with me sitting with my thing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit there and take a bunch of time throughout my day to do that. But I felt it was necessary because I'm DMing me about being confused with this technology.
Yep. So for everybody watching, just be on the lookout for disinformation. If you take away anything from here, just you got to be on the lookout. You got to be able to detect it. So yes, Dave, is there anything else you would like to say?
No, brother, that's it. I'm going to go on with Brandon right now. I'll let you get back to your day. And, you know, I appreciate your time, and keep doing what you do, man. And you're doing things the right way. And I have a lot of respect for you. And man, you're in the tribe, man. And I'm in your tribe. And we're
awesome.
We're gonna keep tribing up, man. Spreading the love, man. You know what I mean? We're gonna do this. We are going to do this. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Well, all right then, Dave. I will see you then. We'll keep in touch. Have a good time with Brandon. I'll see you then. Great talking to you, man.
All right, brother.
See you, man. Take care.
All right. Okay, I'll be back in about 10, everyone. 10-minute break.